Good afternoon, Mainland. We are here for this week in Mainland Regional High School football. This week's review show is after a huge victory over the Bridgeton Bulldogs by a score of 21-8. Dave, what were your thoughts on the game?
It was an exciting win, and it was an emotional win because of all the Hall of Famers that were inducted. And it was really emotional for me because I know I get to coach and was coached by some of the people that were inducted, and Carl Geisinger, Bob Coffey, Brent Caprio, people that I know very well. And it was kind of a proud day for me just to see everybody on the field. I was in tears walking out there that day, and it was just a neat win. But then on top of that, Bridgeton, who Chuck Smith earlier said was the best 0-2 team that he has seen, we win, I think, pretty steadily. And they had some great players.
Okay, and we're going to start this week's show with the athletic director, Mike Gatley.
Mike Gatley. Gatley's little thing that he does each week is great. We've had him come on before, and he just gives we ask him a question, and I think it's really good that we have the actual athletic director here telling you how to be a successful student athlete at Mainland. I think that's great.
Awesome. Okay, welcome back to This Week in Review at Mainland Regional High School. We're here with Athletic Director Mike Gatley. Mike, another big win. Mainland goes to 3-1 after a 21-8 victory over the Bridgeton Bulldogs. What was your impression of the overall experience at the stadium with the Corral Crazies on Friday night?
I can tell you this, my daughter is one of the leaders of the Corral Crazies. One of the things that we tried to do a few years ago was to have a good rapport with some of the senior leaders. We actually meet in my office before the season, talk about appropriate things to do, and cheers and all that kind of stuff. That probably was as strong a presence as I've seen since I've been in Mainland.
And that's been 18 years?
Well, 8 years here.
8 years?
Yeah, sometimes it feels like 18. I'm kidding. Yeah, 8 years. It was a great, great atmosphere. I mean, if you're a player, I mean, obviously you appreciate that support for sure.
Okay, so getting to the nuts and bolts of the game and the Hall of Fame induction at halftime, what was the one thing that stuck out to you with respect to the game and how the game was played by our players?
You know, one of the things I think that I was probably more amazed at came from Bridgeton, not necessarily us. I don't think their quarterback touched the ball enough. I think it was pretty obvious, what kind of talent he is. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, he's handing off to other people, and you know, quite honestly, he was a handful. You know, I'm sure now after the fact, if they will watch this video, they might give it to him a little bit more, but I'm glad they did that night.
Absolutely. And if you can just speak on the Hall of Fame induction, how come that was such a special night for the Mainland community?
Yeah, I got to tell you, we did something a little bit different than even the previous Hall of Fame, which I was involved with here. Actually, when I first got here, but we did everything on campus. I really felt that we needed to have a flavor for the people that were coming back to remember a little bit more about Mainland. I can tell you that I actually had a parent, more than one, but one in particular from one of our inductees that was actually crying when we were, you know, in our cafeteria, because the band and the cheerleaders welcomed everybody into the building, and how special that was, and the memories that brought back for her, going to see her, you know, son playing, what have you. So I just think the whole afternoon, night was terrific, and it was a ton of work by my Hall of Fame committee, which Coach Smith is on. But we transformed that cafeteria, and it really was something special.
So one of the things I can tell you, speaking from my own experience, and that I'm a Holy Spirit High School graduate, I was super impressed with the integration of the alumni, the Hall of Famers, and your current student body all coming together and being part of that, just overall the ceremony and the overall feeling. And I was super impressed by some of the credentials when they were announcing the Hall of Famers coming out, what they did after they left here. And can you speak about how the experiences here that these kids are getting, how that contributes to the lifelong success?
And I think that's really the key. You know, I always say these 4 years molded me. It molds a lot of kids. You know, athletics are a big part of my life, and you know, and still are. But I just think it's the overall atmosphere and wanting to do the best that you can do. It doesn't matter what walk of life. I think the combination of solid academics and you know, and an athletic background gives you that edge when you're looking to, you know, to better yourself after, you know, hopefully college.
Thank you, Dave.
I just thought some of the, kind of what you said, but the neatest thing was how it's evolved from being, you know, something to do at Great Bay with, you know, a couple of your friends and family, to being the band being there and everything. It was just, like, you know, when I was inducted in 2006, it was nothing like that. There was, you know, none of the fun stuff like that. It was neat just to see that, you know, everybody that was inducted and stuff like that together, but nothing like this. And I just think this season has been special just because every game so far, whoever's idea that was to have everybody tunnel, all the kids in the community come in and tunnel everybody into the onto the sideline, and then this week with the Hall of Fame and the wins, I just think this has been like one of the most special seasons in many years around here. And I thought a lot. I mean, my hat's off to you for putting us all together and putting the right people in place, which the athletic director does. It's almost a little bit of nepotism in here, because you see the families that are getting jobs in here, the coaches are getting jobs, and you know that they're good people in the community. You know who they are. They're right from, you're homegrown. And it's a neat thing that everyone wants to come back and stay in this school, and doing a great job managing it all together. I just think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I can tell you that most of, if not all of what we're doing, you know, goes back to, you know, to Coach Smith. I mean, his organization and you know, his want-to attitude is, you know, has been infectious, and I think that, you know, it spurs wanting to do more. And I think, you know, hey, the wins are great, and we know we've been waiting for that to happen, but it's about the competitiveness of the team. And I think that's really what you see. You see a different attitude, and you see a different, it kind of brings back the Mainland, you know, attitude where, you know, no matter what, when you left the field, you know, win or lose, you knew you were in the game. And that's really what we're after.
Yeah. We had a great, you brought up Coach Smith, and one of the neat things that happened, well, Bill is good friends with Coach Scuderi from Absegam, and he said, listen, we looked like we match up pretty good talent-wise with Mainland. However, we saw the video of Sonny Frazier hitting this, and everyone going screaming crazy in the weight room at 5:30 in the morning, and then the stuff that they do together, these pasta dinners, he's like, I can't get my kids together like that. They're going to kick our butts. So when we got together, it was what, 24-0.
And you thought it was 27, but who's counting? I thought he was just saying that. I thought he was just saying that because he's been known to do that. But his prediction to me on the field was right. He goes, I don't think we're going to be able to compete, and they didn't.
Yeah, I think, like I said, we're in a position, I think over at least this cycle, the rest of this year and going into next year, where we've got a nice opportunity to kind of rebuild, where this program has been in the past. And, a lot of this has to do with injuries, and there's some luck in there, and there's some kids that step up and make great plays. So, I think if all things considered continue to go like they're going, we'll be in every game, and that's all I can ask. As an athletic administrator, I just want our kids to compete, and the people to know that we went out there and gave it everything we had.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. It's great having you always.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome back to This Week in Review at Mainland Regional High School. We are here with Grace Vincente. And Grace's dad and I played football at Holy Spirit together. So Grace and I had a conversation off record, and Grace said her dad still talks about the state championship team in 1989 that him and I both were on. I think I still have the jacket. So Grace, welcome aboard. It's a pleasure to have you. So a couple questions for you. I asked you about a nickname, and you gave me one. You said, but that's not really that good. So you said that I could create one for you, and I said, Saving Grace.
Yep.
How's that sound?
I think it sounds perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so you're a senior?
I am.
Awesome. And cheer for all 4 years?
Yes.
Awesome. And explain to me the relationship that the senior captains have with your coaching staff.
So our captains are very close with our coaches. Our coaches kind of rely on us to be like their go-to girls, and we basically just back them up with everything. So they bounce ideas off of us, and we throw ideas at them, and we just kind of all work together.
That's great, because I don't think that Coach Smith bounces many ideas off of his players. I don't think that happens. So that's pretty neat that you have that dynamic. I've never heard Coach Smith ask us for any ideas, and I played for him.
So explain to everybody watching at home how you taking a leadership role here at Mainland as being part of the captains of the cheer team, how that is affecting other parts of your life and going forward in your future.
I think that being captain of the cheer team has definitely helped me with a lot of things. It really just gives me the, what's the word for it?
Chutzpah?
Base.
The confidence.
The confidence, exactly. To show myself that I really can be a leader, and that if I work hard towards my goal, I can reach it.
Awesome.
Got to go to a Princeton game this weekend, and I brought up a bunch of my little flag football players. I have a little football following too. They're all going to be Mainlanders, I hope, even your kids. But I like to be at that stadium because it's one of the stadiums in real big print. It says academics through athletics. So I think that what you learn, what you're saying, what you're learning on the field though, is that applicable in the real world. It's like an academic. You're learning on the field, and I can tell you, I don't remember much from my classroom, but I have not forgot a word one of my coaches have told me. And maybe you think, well, it's kind of
selective.
Maybe, but I tell you what, I've done okay, and I've remembered nothing that my coaches told me. So sometimes you can learn very much through leading people and learning how to fall in line when you need to, and learning when to step up when you need to. And that doesn't happen in a classroom. You have to apply that when you're working with people, and it's something that happens in the real world. So I bring this up every time we bring a cheerleader on here, and how much that leading a group or following, whatever your role needs to be, you need to be the best at that. So sometimes you need to be the chief, sometimes you need to be the Indian, and that's just part of it. And I think that's a neat thing. Jessica and Tiffany both bring. I know them both very well. Both great professionals and take their job very seriously, like down to the T. I thought it was a joke when Jess was so serious about everything she did, and now I know she's going to hold you guys accountable, be tough on you, and make sure that there's consequences for messing up. And as long as you know that that's a good thing for you, you'll always get along with your coaches.
Absolutely.
So how excited is the cheer team and the student body over the football team being the 3-1?
Oh, I think it's a little more of shock too. We aren't really, the past few years, we aren't having exactly.
A lot of success.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think you can really see it all throughout the school, not even just at the games. It brings a totally different atmosphere to the school itself.
Obviously more fun,
Oh, absolutely.
more exciting.
Yeah, energetic.
Can you feel it in the hallways?
Oh, 100%.
How's the day of the game, like when you guys are walking around on a Friday?
Fridays, I feel like you don't pass anyone without a smile on their face. Everyone is just so excited.
That's awesome. So college plans, where are you looking to go?
So I like the Philly area.
Okay.
So
Great choice.
LaSalle, St. Joe's, all those. But I'm also looking at like UDEL and
Okay.
other places.
And what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a teacher.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having
Tell
me.
your father I said hello.
I will.
Great crowd.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to This Week in Review at Mainland Regional High School. We are here with the perfect kicker, number 12, Sean Carey. Sean, explain to everybody at home how fired up the Mainland community and school is over you guys being this successful this season.
After the past 2 seasons, it's been a lot of doubters, and it's just, you can tell the difference in the school. Everyone wants to be at the game, and everyone's, like, even throughout the week, people are talking about it, so it's just
Awesome.
been great.
Awesome. So, as I indicated in my initial question and comment, you're perfect on the season. How does that feel?
Feels great, like, just every time I knock it through, it's just a little more confidence.
So there was a play, and I don't know if you watched the replay of Dave and I on the YouTube video, but there was a play where we were at the 25-yard line, and it was 4th down, and Dave goes, I think he's going to send out the kicker. I'm like, it's 42-yard field goal. So what's your rate going to that effect? What's your range? What would you feel comfortable in kicking?
That's funny, because against Bridgeton, it was like 4th and 10 on like the 3rd. I was like, all right, that's a 47-yard coach put me out. Because like in practice, I've hit a 54.
Awesome.
With the team, I've hit a 42.
Awesome. So with the team, 42 is right around, you think, your range at this point?
Even like that was on a like pre-game walkthrough like, the day before, and like it was messed up and it still went like.
Awesome. So we had one of the people from the band on 2 weeks ago, and one of the things I spoke to her about was her preparation with respect to, she started playing the trumpet, she became a drum major. With you kicking, I'm sure your preparation is extensive and different than what everybody else is doing. Explain to everybody watching what you do to prepare, especially in the off season and then coming into this season. Obviously, success shows your preparation. So tell everybody what your preparation was.
Well, I've been training with Jim Cooper since probably 5th grade. Just a lot of flexibility. Just trying to get my foot on the ball every day. And in the weight room, like I'm in the weight room with the team. Like that's just a great atmosphere. But I don't do leg stuff just heavy because I just need to stay flexible.
Got it. So Jim Cooper is a former Mainland Mustang, right? And he played where, Temple?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. See, it shows I pay attention. So you've been working with him since you were in 5th grade. If you could approximate, when you go out and do a day's worth of work for kicking, how many times you kick the ball? What's your tell me your routine. What do you actually get into? Because I think a lot of people don't understand how much goes into you kicking an extra point.
Yeah. Well, regular practice with him, do my warm-up, stretch, probably takes about 10-15 minutes. Do some no steps, like work back into a full approach field goal, and move it around, and kickoffs. But actually at his facility, he has like his own field and office. We go over like each kick. He tweaks my technique, and it's pretty awesome.
So you've had quite a few touchbacks too this week. I know the opening kickoff kicked it over I think it was number 2's head, right? So that's you kicking the ball like 60-70 yards in the air, right? You're kicking off from your own 40,
Yeah.
and then you're booming it over the deep back's head. Okay, how many times have you done that this season? How many touchbacks do you actually have, you know?
This season, against Bridgeton, like, regular season, those were my first.
Okay,
touchbacks.
got it. So in the overall grand scheme of things, do you want to play in college?
I've always wanted to. Recently, I've kind of been questioning that because I've always taken academics seriously.
Yes.
Just recently, it's clicked. Like, I want to focus on academics, and if I can play football, I will.
Awesome. And where are you looking to go?
Number 1's Delaware, then Penn State and Rome.
Awesome. Dave?
So being perfect hasn't always been perfect. Being perfect has come with some adversity in your life, right? So tell me, why don't you fill us in with some of the adversity you had to go through to be where you're at now? Yeah.
At the end of 8th grade, I was diagnosed with cancer, bone cancer in my hip, and as a kicker, that's definitely not fun. As anyone, it's not fun. But that was 9 months of treatment, surgery. August 2015. I was done January 18th, 2016. I was back in the weight room with the team. I wasn't benching or anything like that. I was just trying to get strength back. But yeah, that was probably around March or April of 2016.
So that was your junior year or sophomore year? Freshman year?
I couldn't play football freshman year because start of the year I was in a wheelchair and all that. But yeah, I came back sophomore year, kicked JV.
What I thought was the neatest thing, and a lot of people know this, but what he wanted he had like a Make-A-Wish, I believe, and his one wish was, if I get choked up, apologize right now. He had a very powerful speaker come in and just wanted him to talk to his football team. What's the name of the speaker?
Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas, who I love. I mean, and you just listen to him. You can listen to him over and over and over, and I've heard his voice over music, and we listen to it in the weight room sometimes at the gym. You just hear him talking over like a little bit of a beat, and super powerful. That's what he asked for. I just thought that was one of the most special things I could think, that you didn't want anything for yourself. Could have gone skydiving, could have done something for yourself. Who the heck knows?
Should have kicked off the Eagles game.
Yeah, but what he wanted to do was give this back to his team. And that's what we keep talking about, the community around here and how it supports itself, and all the sponsors that kick in and make this broadcast possible, and make just something like that. You just totally selfless. You know, me and Bill don't get paid a whole lot to do this type of stuff. So we do this just because we care about. We care about this community, care about Chuck Smith, care about you guys as individuals, as students, and it's great for our community. Everybody's happy. You guys are little celebrities now. I'm telling you, everywhere you go, everyone's talking about it, everyone's posting it, and you're a special kid because of that. I just want you to know that I have the utmost respect for you for doing that for your team and giving that back to your community. You made everybody better. By you going through that, you made everybody better, and then doing that for your team. They'll never forget that. No one will ever forget that, and that makes you a real special kid, man. I've always wanted to put you in this chair and have time to talk to you like this. I'm just honored to have you sit here with me, Jim.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Good luck. Keep kicking them through, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mainland. We are at Mainland Regional High School with head coach Chuck Smith. We're here for the week in review. Chuck, another big victory over a tough opponent, the Bridgeton Bulldogs, brings Mainland to 3-1. Two things. First, the overall impression of the game and just the attitude of the kids going forward.
It was we knew it would be a tough game going into it. Bridgeton was very talented, big up front, one of the best linebackers, not just in our division, probably in all of South Jersey. I mean, he was phenomenal. Thank God he's a senior. Probably, hopefully, the last time I see that kid on the field, because he's just phenomenal. Sideline to sideline, he's good. A lot of athleticism out there. We knew we were in a ball game with them, and even I think we were up 14-0 at halftime. You knew they were that team that could just make something out of nothing, and next thing you know, they're right back in the game, which happened. you know, and then we kind of had to hunker down on defense and we get our backs up against the wall and get that momentum back with that big interception by Brandon Batts to get the momentum back on our way, and then we took it down and scored again to kind of put the game away a little bit. But you know, the kids were resilient. You know, we lost a lot of back-to-back games the past couple of years, and one of our themes this week was determination. And we were determined not to lose back-to-back games, and that was the theme all week long in practice. That was our speech, what we talked about all week long, and the kids believed in that. And they didn't want to come back home from our home crowd knowing it was going to be probably a pretty big crowd due to the Hall of Fame induction, and you know, go out there and lay an egg, and they came out and rose to the occasion. So hats off to them.
Awesome. And we welcomed back Tyquan Campbell this week, and he had an impressive 3-touchdown game. He was all over the field. Did he bring energy back to the team? Was there a palpable difference? Were everybody excited to have him back?
Yeah, I mean, he's our playmaker. He's our best player on both sides of the football. He's our cover corner. He's a guy who you could bottle him up most of the game, and he could all of a sudden take it and go the distance. You know, whether you're throwing the ball to him, he's running the ball. He's become an excellent blocker for us. You know, something he was lacking in the past. But you know, he brought that energy level back to our offense. We were missing that the week before against Cherry Hill on the offensive side, especially. You know, we got away with it on defense, but on offense, he's that guy that, you know, and when you have him and teams focus on him, it opens up the other guys. You know.
So the jet sweep.
Yeah, all that stuff, yeah. All those things for Joe Mazzari and Devin Anderson. You know, it opens up things for them. You know, when you lose that one element, now teams can kind of force you on that side, and other people got to step it up a little bit.
So you touched on the interception being one of the key plays in the game, and we spoke about this on the broadcast. When it was 14-8, Bridgeton has the ball. They convert that 4th down. Right, the momentum is clearly swung in their favor, and then at 1st down they drop back the pass. I couldn't believe it, and then the pick came. What was your impression? I saw how excited everybody was on the side. I actually thought there was a fight because everybody was going so crazy with the kids swinging hands and batting each other on the head. I thought there was a fight with the Bridgeton kid on the side. I realized it was just you guys going nuts over the.
Yeah, when I watched the game on the broadcast.
Yeah.
On Sunday, and I heard you guys saying that, and then I realized, I said, "Who's that guy jumping in?" It was me.
Yeah,
that was me jumping on everybody.
Yeah.
Throwing things at. I had a flashback. Oh, I did that. That's right. You know, so it snapped at that moment. But you know, we were scared of them in regards to their quarterback. The quarterback's a tremendous athlete. You know, not necessarily a great passer, but a great athlete back there. That when the field all of a sudden spreads open, this kid finds a crease and takes off, and he can go 0 to 100 in a heartbeat. And we were really afraid of him just scrambling around. And he had a couple runs in the second half where he went right, hit the brakes, reversed the grain, and you know, he made something out of nothing. And he did that. And we were kind of afraid. So when he dropped back the pass, we were anticipating that, you know, because they really didn't do anything really running wise at us as a run game. Yeah. It was more of that other stuff. And you know, but when he threw the ball up, I mean, a great play by Devin Anderson to deflect the ball, and just thank God it landed in our hands, and you know, kind of got the game going back in our favor.
Game changer, definitely. So the totality of the success that's occurred this year, now you're 3-1. How has that parlayed into the whole environment and attitude in the school? The one cheerleader just saw in saving grace, she said, "Everybody's smiling on Friday." What's the environment that we're in?
You know, we've had a couple down years, and you know, football is always the big thing around. You know, at any school really, football is the big thing in the fall. You know, everybody goes to the games. You get the band involved, the cheerleaders involved, the football team involved. You know, the community comes out. You know, all those things. And Friday nights at Mainland have always been a big thing, regardless of what's going on the field record-wise. But you know, now we've the kids have grown up, and they've been in the program for now 3 or 4 years, and took their lumps, and now, you know, they're walking around the school with their chests out a little bit more. They've put the work in. They've stuck with it. You know, a lot of times you get kids that, you know, when things go south, they go, "See you later." And these kids never abandoned anything. You know, they took their lumps, got punched in the face, got beat up physically, mentally, everything. And they stuck with it through all the off-season workouts, 2 long years of being in the weight room at 5:30 in the morning when it's pitch black outside, to now all of a sudden you see it turning. You know, you saw their bodies changing, you were hoping for the best. You never know what's going to happen on the field. You just want to have a chance to win, be competitive. And that's where I think we are right now. We're not there yet by any means of the imagination. You know, we're just on the right footpath, I believe, to getting back to being on top.
You know what I thought that when we turn around and we're watching the game here, we could turn around and you can see the kids that are playing behind the stadium. You know that when you're a kid, you always go to the games, you're all playing football against all the kids in the neighborhood. Well, from the years past, I'd come to a game or two every year, and there's nobody back there the past couple of years. And this year, there's tons of kids back there. They all come out for Friday night. It is, Mainland is back. I'm just going to say Mainland is back right now, and the community is as strong as ever, and the kids are crazy. They've got, kid broke his arm there. Kids broke his arm out there the other day. We were turning around, calling down everybody, get away from there, But like it was exciting because the kids are all excited just to be here, and they're all running around, and just it's a neat thing to have Friday night back in this community.
Yeah, it's
So
neat. The little kids like you and the other night, we come out from behind the school, and when we came out at halftime, all these little kids were lined up in their Cardinals and Sharks and Panthers jerseys, just to high five the kids when they walk by. They go back on the field. It's really neat.
It's awesome.
I think the kids are finally understanding they're a bigger deal to these little guys than they thought they were. You know, and I always look back when you played, and how little kids wanted to be the next John Stone, Dave Klemick, you know, those guys. You know, you don't realize how big of an image you are to these little kids and how they look up to you. You know, until later on in life when you reflect upon it.
every week so far, the Linwood Panthers have had one of the players from Mainland come over and speak to them. And last week they used Drew DeMorat, who we didn't know that he could speak a couple words. A very smart kid, but just
Very intelligent.
Very smart. 4.8 GPA, 4.8 40-yard dash. We've talked about that a lot. But now he's opening up too, and they asked him to step up and talk. We had him come up here and talk. They asked him to go over there, and I heard he did a fantastic job over there. I know you got to be proud of those kids for what they're doing.
That's part of what we're trying to do. I mean, the other part of the whole program is bringing the community back together and building those bridges with Linwood, Northfield, Somers Point youth programs. You know, whether it's our kids going over to watch practice, talk to kids. I go and try to attend as many games as possible to see the kids. You know, because I remember being a little kid, and when you saw, you know, it was Coach Gallagher back in the day from Holy Spirit. You saw him wearing a Holy Spirit jacket, or Coach Schaefer with a Mainland jacket on. Even though you might not talk to them, you knew they were there. You knew they were there, and that meant something to you that these people were coming to watch you play. And we want to make sure these kids know we're interested and we're watching them. We know who they are, their names, and eventually we get them to come here for shadow for a day and come here to the school and hang out with our guys.
But how meaningful is it to have also, I just want to talk about the band and the Corral Crazies. How much does that mean to you, their support and their energy that they bring to the games as well? How much does that mean?
Yeah, we feed off it big time. I mean, our kids love the Corral Crazies. You know, when you show up at 6 o'clock for start of game here, you know, the band's out there, parents are starting to come in. The stands aren't full yet. I mean, they get full by the game gets going, they're full. But the Corral Crazy section is packed. You know, those kids are there, they're loyal followers, man. They're there, they've got their bodies painted up, they're cheering, hooting, and hollering. And our kids love it. That's why when we take the field, we empty in front of them on purpose, because they're there for us, and we want to make sure we let them know we appreciate them coming. And I'll tell you what, I get a rise out of it. I walk out there and hear them going, it gets me going in the game. You know, I get a little choked up a little bit seeing these kids act that way. Because really, the whole thing is about the kids. It's not about anything else. It's all about the kids, whether it's the football team, the band, cheerleaders, the Corral Crazies. It's all about the kids.
So to touch exactly on what you're talking about, where the Corral Crazies and the kids are actually cheering on the team, there was a play in the game. It was that 4th down play that they converted before the interception, where literally Dave and I were so caught up in the emotion of the game and the fans cheering that I actually screamed out of the broadcast booth, "Let's go defense, make some noise," right? So it's contagious, right?
Absolutely.
The success is infectious, right? And success breeds success, and you see it in these kids, you see it in their faces. And I have to tell you, your parents have been amazing. When we're walking out, they are all like Mainland Football TV 3-in-1. They're all excited, everybody's happy. So it's been an honor for us to be welcomed into the team and the community.
Yeah, it's a big thing. I see how many people are watching the game, and they talk about it. And this week we had a lot of alumni back for the Hall of Fame night, and people are talking about being able to see the games now. And these aren't people who live around here anymore. You know, they're all around southeast, northeast part of the country, and they're able now to just click on something and still see their team play. You know.
During the broadcast, we can see on YouTube people write in to us, so it's a neat thing to see. Buddy Broom from San Diego, you have Aaron Finnerty from Hoboken, John Stone he's in Atlanta right now, and these guys are all guys that I played with, and they're writing in there, "Go Mainland, I'm going to watch it right now." We had a bunch of guys, law enforcement, that meet at somebody's house in Northfield and watch the game on our broadcast and watch the whole game, and they were writing in and saying, "Yo, say something about us." You know, but it's neat that everyone's getting it together. We've had actually we have more views on Mainland games than all of we'll say competitive other networks
Combined.
And there's
It's a big
thousands.
community. You know,
Yeah,
we have
it
a
is.
great
It
alumni
is.
network, and you know, a lot of stuff that we've started here in the past couple of years wouldn't have been possible without the alumni.
Yeah.
You know, they all came around. I kind of reached out, and it kind of mushroom clouded from there, and they all came back, and we were able to renovate the weight room and do all kinds of special things for the kids, and it's all because of the alumni.
It speaks volumes to the community, right? So people, like, we were in the gym 6 o'clock this morning, and the one young athlete who's a Mainland swimmer was there, and his father said to me, and I had Mainland football shirt on. He goes, "You go to Mainland?" I said, "No, I went to Holy Spirit." He goes, "Why are you wearing a shirt?" I was like, "I'm adopted." Right? I said, it is the excitement around the program and the team and the kids, and you have a really special group of kids,
Yeah,
which makes
they
it
are.
easy to cheer for them. Right?
They're good kids. They're really good kids, you know. And they exude that student-athlete motto that you really try to hold dear and near. Not that I want every kid, you know, I tell them, hey, being a straight A student isn't always what is attainable for everybody. I just want you to try your best and be a good person in the building. And that's kind of what our program is now. You know, we had to go through some bumps and all down the road the past couple of years and get rid of some people because they didn't want to toe the line of what we were preaching, but now we have those kids, and you know, it's a good example of a student athlete here. You know, academics come first and all the other stuff's easy afterwards.
Buying into the program.
There was a story that Coach Vermeil once told us. Now he's famous for winning with teams in his third year. In his third year, he's been to the Super Bowl twice, and then took the Chiefs to. We were started off 11-0 one year and ended up losing to Peyton Manning, but in his third year. And so I knew by his third year that Coach would have his team together, which they have to go through this. It's one of those things that you buying people into the program. Sometimes they get a new coach, they like the old guy or this guy. You know what I mean? Nobody's bought in. But there's a great story Coach Vermeil told us once, and I think that this team, exactly what you're saying, is what happened to this team. The old story is about a guy that's carrying a wheelbarrow across a high rope across the canyon, and he's running this thing across, and his trick is to take the bricks across the canyon, right? So everyone's watching him do he's watching him do this, and he says that this carnival they're going to bet whether he's going to make it or not. And everybody's throwing their bets back and forth and seeing him kind of dump it sometimes on this practice line and stuff, and then he says to people out there, "Okay, who's betting on me the day of the carnival? Who's betting on me?" And just one guy stood up and, I'm betting on you, man. I'm betting on you. And he goes, you think I can? You're actually gonna bet on me? I messed this up like 100 times. You're gonna bet on me? He goes, I just told you I'm gonna bet on you. And he says, well, yeah, I'm gonna put my money on it. He goes, do you really believe that I can do this? And he says, yeah, I could believe you can do it. And he dumped the bricks out and he says, get in. And I think in the third year, your team has got in. Like, you got enough people that got in, and instead of just saying, okay, coach, sure, coach, yeah, whatever, they're in. They got rid of the bricks, they're sat in there, and they're letting you drive it. Believed you, get up at 5:30 in the morning, they believed you with this stuff, with all the team unity and all this extra stuff that you're making them do, and that we've never had to do, and guess what? They bought in, and this team is riding with you. Yeah. Everyone in this community believes you, and we're all taking a ride with you.
I appreciate it. It's a fun thing. It's a painful process sometimes, but as long as you see the kids having fun in the end, that's what it's all about.
So this week we're at Clearview, and the schedule is wrong. We're actually playing at 7 p.m. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Clearview is also in the West Jersey Football League, but an opponent that you probably never played before, right?
Played them last year.
Oh, you did play them last year?
We played them in consolation round, so we have a little familiarity. They're different from last year, but same coaching staff.
Okay, and they're 1-1. Okay. Already do your film review? Ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What are you looking forward to from just an overall game perspective, without giving away any secrets or your plans? What are you looking for overall?
It'll be a competitive game. Clearview is a well-coached team. When I watch film, I always watch like, hey, how they going to line up to the offense, what's their plays defensively. We do all those kind of breakdowns. And then the second time I watch it, I'm kind of looking at personnel. And I watch every position, I watch it over and over again. And you know, you're trying to find weak links, where areas you can attack and things like that. And the one thing that popped off the film to me with Clearview is they're well coached. I watch kids the way they line up, their stance, their read steps, how they get off the ball. And you can tell a well-coached team versus maybe a team that isn't so well-coached, or kids do their own thing type of thing, aren't really doing the system thing. These kids are into the system thing, they really are. They're not a flashy team. They're a pretty big team physically. You know, no bigger than anybody else we faced this year. But like I told our kids the other day in our team meeting, I said, you know, they're not bigger than anybody we've ever faced this season, not more athletic than anybody we've faced this season, but they are the best coach team that you have faced this season. And sometimes, you know, you win games just because you're well coached and you do what you're taught to do. You know, you're not out of position ever. You know, you're doing the right things. You might get out athleted here and there, but you're always going to be in the right spot. That's Clearview in a nutshell. You know, they run the wing team on offense, very heavy-handed with the run game. On defense, they're a 4-4. Their defensive front is very good. They get off the ball, hands extension, everything. They have a corner who I believe is committed to go to Army. You know, they're a well-rounded team. They have one of the better kickers in all of South Jersey also. Watched him the other night against Paul VI. I think he had 6 touchbacks. You know, just booming the ball in the end zone. He had a field goal also. I mean, he's got a strong leg. But it's a good team. It's a really cool venue for a football game for high school. You know, stadium is set up there. You know, we had a competitive game last year. I think we lost 30-something, 20-something, like 10-point game. You know, we're both in consolation round. We both only had 1 win going into it. So I'm looking forward to a really competitive game. I know it's getting a lot of hype, and South Jersey Network was here to look at the game, and people were looking at doing the game on radio. And you know, I guess it's because both teams are kind of on the rise and seeing what's next, who's taking that next step, and it has big implications for Group 4 playoffs. I think we're both right now like 16-17 or 15-16 in the power rankings. So this game is huge for down the road, you know, and that's as far as we're looking. We're looking just at Friday night. You know, we're not looking past that, but we know this is a big game for us. It has some things to do afterwards.
Awesome.
In the first half of the game against Bridgeton too, this has something to do with Clearview, but you guys were super aggressive, blitzing, throwing a lot of pressure onto the quarterback, and moving forward, I just said if I could. In the second half, I believe that we kind of backed it off a little bit, and I think we weren't as aggressive, and I thought that they were finding some holes in our defensive line, not necessarily holes, but it gave the quarterback enough time to get his shoulders turned forward and get upfield, whereas before we set the edge and rushed him so hard that he didn't have any time to squirt out. So, but this week, I don't know if you have a different game plan. Using this with this offense, but I know that that really aggressive style that Doug Shiner used worked like a charm with that particular quarterback. This one with not such an athletic quarterback, is there any changes in the defense that you want to like talk about at all?
You know, Sharky's an unbelievable defensive coach. He's the smartest guy, one of the smartest coaches I've ever been around. I've been coaching with the guy since the early '90s. You know, we were together here at Mainland. He went out to Oakcrest with me as my defense coordinator out at Oakcrest. You know, got the job back here. He came back here again. He was Coach Tetley's right-hand man back in the day when we were doing really well here. You know, he was like the second fiddle in defense. Yeah, he's got some things up his sleeve, you know, to really give us, you know, try to get us the best advantage on the defensive side as possible. But, you know, the thing comes down, you know, high school football is all about running, you know, stopping the run. And we know that we have to do a good job running the football this week. And by the same token, we got to do a good job of shutting down their run game because they really don't throw the ball around a lot. They are really heavy-handed running.
Yeah, I've seen that this week having Taekwon Campbell back too. It really sucked their defensive backs to really play a little lower, and we did get a couple passes down the field. And I think if we could, with Taekwon being just the threat of him being on the field, it really opens up our passing lane. So I think that's another thing, and that we maybe see this week is any practicing.
Yeah, you know, I used to be a gunslinger. You know, I used to get yelled at a lot because people said, you get itchy if you don't throw the ball after 2 plays. And that's just the way I was, but I was very fortunate to have 3 great quarterbacks almost in a row when I was coaching one as offensive coordinator here. And, you know, I just kind of, when we got into run option football, you know, I tried to change my mentality a little bit And yeah, we'll see what happens Friday night. You know, we'll see.
You're trying to say don't say anything, and I'm trying to get it out. We're putting odds right here.
All right, Coach, thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you,
Looking
guys.
forward to another big game Friday night, and good luck.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks.